Legislators plot the way forward amid the COVID pandemic. The hotel sector takes a bruising, and why mental health's key in such uncertain times. Good morning, everyone. I'm Akush Lupinder, and welcome to the morning edition. COVID-19 could very well force lawmakers into making unprecedented decisions to avert any drastic spread of COVID-19 here in the Bahamas. Expect then several communications to be presented in Parliament today. Legislators meeting along the sidelines of the world grappling with growing fears of the disease, with the country so far confirming one such case 4 days ago. While the economic pinch from COVID-19 far-reaching as early as tomorrow, new travel restrictions will take effect, impacting the #1 sector. Foreign nationals and those who traveled within the last 20 days from the United Kingdom, Ireland and Europe will be denied entry into the country. This, no doubt, will provide a crippling blow to Club Med Resort in San Salvador, which depends heavily on bi-weekly direct flights from Europe. Hotels are already seeing major cancellations and low occupancy levels, sending the jobs of thousands of Bahamian workers into uncertainty. In studio with us this morning is President of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Darren Woods. Mr. Woods, welcome to the morning edition.
Good morning, Ms. Pinder, and good morning, Bahamas.
Now, I understand that later today you'll meet with the tourism minister to discuss the way forward. Tell us some more about those talks, what you hope to get out of those talks today.
Well, what we wanted to do is ensure that the hospitality workers and the restaurant workers are heard. There's a lot of discussions going around or happening, and it seems as if our sector is not a part of the discussions that are going on. And so we wanted to say to the minister, as we would have mentioned to the Minister of Labor yesterday, some of the real issues that are happening on the ground in the industry. You mentioned Club Med, which is one of the properties that is going to be affected as of Thursday, where you find that the persons who are on that property, the guests, are leaving, with the last guest leaving on Saturday. And the resort will be closed. We got a note saying that they will be closed temporarily for 5 weeks. Now, all of that is contingent on the travel restriction and what happens after that. And even with that, we believe that there will still be some reservation on persons traveling because their guest comes from Europe. And so that's what we're faced with.
You've had conference calls as well with Club Med officials. What's been the outcome?
Well, the outcome was to find out, as of Thursday this week, how do we kind of preserve some employment for some of the persons on that island, with Club Med being the major employer. And as we've always done, we're able to preserve some persons being able to work through this period. The others will be off. Now we're in the phase where we're talking about how do we bring some relief to those persons in the immediate future, taking into consideration that based on our industry, they will be paid last week's pay. I mean, they work a week. And so this week they will be paid for last week, and next week they will be paid for this week. So we have some time that we have to put our plans together to kind of bring some relief to those persons.
Outside of that, what else are you hoping to achieve for your members? That's thousands of Bahamians that could possibly be out of a job if this thing lingers.
Well, the major thing is, how do we preserve jobs? There will have to be some concessions, and that's why we're taking what we call a tripartite approach, where the union, the employer, and the government comes together, and we sit down to say exactly, with each one bringing their percentage stake to this crisis. What are you prepared to do? What are you able to do? What is the government able to do? What is the union going to do? And what is the employer prepared to do? And with that approach, we see it being phased in, because listening to the international news, there's no indication as to how long this is going to last. So whatever is done, whatever relief is sought, whatever relief is given, it has to be done on a phased-in approach. And so we want to see from the government, the various agencies, at what point they will be doing. The employer, at what point, what can we do? And then, of course, from the union standpoint, the union is going to do whatever is necessary and is able to do in the best interest of its members. Now, there are going to be some discussions that will take the whole industry into account. But when it comes down to the members of the hotel union, the union is responsible. And we believe we have a moral and a social obligation to look out for the best interests of our members.
Now, there's a saying, prepare for the best, well, hope for the best,
Yes,
prepare for the worst. What's your greatest fear in all of this?
My greatest fear in all of this would be, and I'm using fear kind of loosely, would be a complete shutdown, because we are so dependent on outside. And if that market, similar to the European market, is a travel ban, and this thing really spreads further, that we have a complete shutdown, how long can anything be sustained? And that is one of the issues we want to raise with the government, their projection. Because, you know, the tourism minister, they have all of the statistics, flights that are pending, whatever's coming in, any cancellation of flights on a national level. We know from the hotels what is happening there. So we need to that's where we are better able to plan what is going to happen and how do we kind of execute our plan. Bearing in mind that we have a model already. So we don't have to create the model. It's just now that how do we execute this in the short, long, and medium term.
Now, is the union, worst comes to worst, or in any event, for the thousands of workers, for the most part, they're going to be at home or without a job for 2 weeks, as it stands. Is the union prepared in any way, and we're talking financially, to assist its members?
Well, first of all, the notice that would have been given to the employees from the Atlantis, the Hilton, and we see another trend, they gave them a proposal to either take 2 weeks vacation, earned vacation, or 2 weeks leave of absence. The employees will have to make a financial decision whether I want to use some of my vacation now, or I'm doing kind of good and I want to take a week or whatever leave of absence. It is not mandatory. It is not mandatory. Now, we heard some voice note going around from some managers telling some employees that is mandatory. So we reached out to the human resources to get that sorted out, because their note was, we're asking you to take it. Now, what they've enacted is nothing new. Our industrial agreement provides for, if there's a downturn in the industry, fight cancellation, act of God, hurricanes, whatever, for them to start rostering according to occupancy. So they will then go to rostering with occupancy, which means now, if Darren decides that he doesn't want to take any vacation at this time, he doesn't want to go on the leave of absence, he's then placed into a pool and he would work whatever days are available. So they would be able to get some days. What we are saying to our members is, listen, we are at the beginning of this thing. We don't know how long this is going to last. Let's hold our ground until we kind of get some indication as to what is going to happen. Then you can say, well, I'll take a week vacation here, or I'll take a leave of absence here, and then we can start to look at. But to your question, whatever is necessary for the union to assist its members, the union is prepared to do. If we have to go and negotiate, whatever we have to negotiate so that the union can assist its members, we are prepared, ready, willing, and able to do so. And we've done it before. In 2011, with the 9/11, we did it then. In 2008, we did it then. But what we want to do is try to see how best we can preserve jobs. Because in 2008, some persons were made redundant, and some of those persons to date are still unemployed. Because when you look at persons who are 45, 50 years of age, it's kind of hard for those persons to find another job. And so, whatever is necessary, the hotel union will stand with its members in these times.